In part 3 of this story, as Amina faces a critical village meeting, her personal tale ignites a fierce debate on tradition and change. Amidst the chaos, a devastating drought tests the community's resolve and strains their commitment to reform. Amina and Dr. Miriam battle betrayal and adversity, striving to unite the village in a fight for survival and progress. The outcome hinges on whether their efforts will triumph or if old beliefs will reassert their dominance. Dr. Miriam uses clear, accessible language and visual aids to explain vesicovaginal fistula, VVF, emphasizing that it is a medical condition caused by childbirth complications, not divine retribution. Her presentation demystifies the illness and stresses its treatability. Former patients, including Amina, share their personal stories, adding emotional weight to the medical facts. Amina's experiences, once a source of stigma, now offer hope and insight. The workshops also address the harmful practice of child marriage, highlighting the importance of education and health care in preventing such issues. Dr. Miriam and Amina's advocacy encourages villagers to question old beliefs and consider new perspectives. Resistance to change begins to soften as the villagers hear these new ideas. The workshops foster open dialogue, with Dr. Miriam and Amina urging the community to reflect on their traditions. Some villagers, moved by personal stories and medical explanations, begin to support the proposed changes. Although resistance remains, the chapter portrays a shift in attitudes. The once hostile atmosphere is replaced by cautious acceptance. The community starts to see Amina as a symbol of courage and hope rather than a cursed individual. The educational efforts lead to a growing appreciation for the NGO's work and the possibility of a more compassionate future. The fragile progress in Duroc faces a devastating setback when a trusted ally of Dr. Miriam's NGO betrays them. Under the guise of support, this ally leaks sensitive information about the NGO's strategies and upcoming initiatives to the traditionalist. This betrayal, driven by personal gain or fear, strikes at the heart of the NGO's efforts and ignites a new wave of hostility against Dr. Miriam and her team. The impact of the betrayal is swift and severe. The traditionalists, now armed with insider knowledge, launch a coordinated attack against the NGO. They use the leaked information to undermine the organization's credibility, spreading false accusations and stirring up further mistrust within the community. The previously wavering resistance solidifies into fierce opposition. Rumors swirl about the NGO's supposed ulterior motives, and public sentiment turns against Dr. Miriam and her team. Dr. Miriam is blindsided by the betrayal, struggling to comprehend how someone within their circle could betray their mission. The breach in trust erodes the team's morale and complicates their efforts to continue their work. They face increased threats and sabotage, making their mission to support Amina and address health issues even more challenging. In a dramatic confrontation, Dr. Miriam and her team must navigate this new reality, working tirelessly to counteract the damage caused by the betrayal. They need to reassure the villagers of their genuine intentions and prove their commitment to the community's well-being. The NGO's reputation and the progress made so far hang in the balance as Dr. Miriam seeks to rebuild trust and restore the momentum for change. The betrayal of the NGO's ally is merely the tip of the iceberg. As Dr. Miriam and her team investigate the source of the leak, they uncover a web of corruption that extends beyond a single act of treachery. The betrayer, it turns out, was part of a larger network of traditionalist sympathizers who had been working to sabotage the NGO's efforts from within. This network had infiltrated key positions in the village and had been feeding misinformation to fuel dissent and resistance against the NGO's mission. The revelations are both shocking and demoralizing. The team learns that the betrayer had been leaking not only strategic information but also manipulating and exaggerating the NGO's actions to fit the traditionalist narrative. This manipulation included spreading false rumors about the NGO's funding sources and intentions, further poisoning the village's perception of their work. Faced with this new reality, Dr. Miriam and her team are forced to confront a multifaceted crisis. The betrayer has not only jeopardized their efforts but also heightened the hostility from traditionalist factions. They must navigate the fallout from the betrayal, dealing with increased attacks and public backlash. The team's credibility is in shambles, and their ability to operate effectively is severely compromised. In response, Dr. Miriam and her team embark on a strategic overhaul. They initiate a damage control campaign, focusing on transparency and community engagement. They hold urgent meetings with villagers to address their concerns and refute the misinformation. The team also strengthens their alliances with supportive villagers, working to restore trust and reinforce their commitment to the community's well-being. The reckoning becomes a test of resilience. Dr. Miriam's leadership is under scrutiny, and the future of the NGO hangs in the balance. The chapter builds suspense as the team struggles to overcome the compounded challenges, highlighting their determination and ingenuity in the face of adversity. The village of Durok, still reeling from the recent betrayal and the aftermath of the fire, is struck by a new and formidable adversary, a sudden outbreak of disease. The illness, marked by high fevers, debilitating weakness, and mysterious rashes, sweeps through the village with alarming speed. The disease is an invisible enemy, its origins and means of transmission unknown, exacerbating the villagers' fear and confusion. Dr. Miriam and her team are thrust into immediate action. With their resources already stretched thin from their previous challenges, the outbreak tests their capacity and resilience. The disease's rapid spread overwhelms the limited medical facilities available. The symptoms grow more severe with each passing day, and the death toll rises, adding a new layer of desperation to the already volatile situation. The villagers, already disillusioned and mistrustful due to the recent betrayals and ongoing conflicts, become increasingly panicked. Rumors spread that the disease is a divine punishment, a final blow to the perceived curse brought by Amina. The traditionalists used the outbreak to further discredit Dr. Miriam and her NGO, claiming that their efforts have only brought misfortune to the village. Dr. Miriam's team works tirelessly to contain the outbreak, implementing emergency sanitation measures and setting up makeshift clinics to treat the infected. They also launch a community education campaign, aiming to dispel myths about the disease and promote preventive measures. Despite their efforts, the team faces immense obstacles: a lack of medical supplies, resistance from villagers reluctant to follow new health protocols, and the constant pressure of combating both the disease and the simmering distrust. The disease outbreak adds a new layer of complexity to the already strained situation. As Dr. Miriam and her team race against time to control the epidemic, the chapter explores themes of vulnerability and resilience. The community's ability to confront and overcome this unseen enemy becomes a pivotal test of their strength and unity. As Durok begins to emerge from the crisis of the disease outbreak, the focus shifts to the process of healing and reconciliation. Binta, the village healer whose actions had previously fueled superstition and conflict, finds herself at a crossroads. Confronted with the full extent of the damage her accusations and manipulations have caused, she grapples with a deep sense of guilt and regret. Binta's reputation, once a pillar of authority in the village, is now tainted by the revelations of her deceit. The villagers, having endured immense suffering and witnessed the devastating effects of misinformation and fear, are deeply conflicted. Some view Binta as a fallen figure deserving of punishment, while others see her as a symbol of the village's misguided past, needing compassion and an opportunity for redemption. In a courageous act of self-reflection, Binta approaches Dr. Miriam and Amina, seeking forgiveness and a chance to make amends. She proposes a series of community meetings where she will openly address her role in perpetuating the village's harmful beliefs and actions. The proposal is met with skepticism and resistance, as many villagers are not yet ready to forgive or forget the suffering they endured due to Binta's influence. Binta's attempt at redemption involves not just words but actions. She collaborates with Dr. Miriam and Amina in organizing health workshops and education sessions, using her knowledge to support the NGO's efforts rather than undermine them. She also works to rebuild trust within the community by personally aiding those affected by the disease and assisting in the ongoing efforts to improve living conditions. The process is fraught with tension and emotional turmoil. Some villagers are moved by Binta's sincerity and her visible efforts to contribute positively. Others remain wary, unable to overlook the pain caused by her earlier actions. The chapter delves into the complexities of forgiveness and the difficulty of reconciling past wrongs with present efforts toward change. As Binta continues her journey of redemption, her presence becomes a poignant reminder of the human capacity for change and growth. The community's response to her efforts highlights the broader struggle for reconciliation and the challenge of integrating new perspectives with traditional beliefs. The chapter serves as a critical turning point in the village's healing process, emphasizing that redemption, while challenging, is an essential part of moving forward. Amina's recovery marks the dawn of a new chapter not just in her life but for her entire community. Driven by a newfound purpose, she emerges as a powerful advocate for girls' rights, transforming her personal suffering into a force for positive change. Her journey from a victim of child marriage and vesicovaginal fistula, or VVF, to a beacon of hope captivates and inspires other survivors. Her story of endurance and resilience becomes a rallying cry for those who have suffered in silence. Determined to prevent others from enduring her painful experiences, Amina spearheads the creation of a support network specifically designed for victims of child marriage and VVF. The network, aptly named Voices of Resilience, serves as a lifeline for countless girls and women. It provides a safe space where survivors can share their stories, receive emotional support, and access critical resources. The establishment of this network is not without its challenges. Skepticism and resistance persist from some quarters of the community. Yet, Amina's unwavering determination and the tangible improvements in the lives of those she helps gradually erode opposition. She collaborates with Dr. Miriam and other allies to organize educational workshops, health screenings, and advocacy campaigns. Each initiative reinforces the network's role as a vital support system and educates the wider community about the realities of child marriage and VVF. The impact of Amina's work is profound. As more survivors come forward and share their stories, the stigma associated with these issues begins to dissolve. The once hidden suffering becomes a focal point for collective action, prompting discussions on reform and the need for continued support. Amina's influence extends beyond her own community as neighboring villages take notice and seek to replicate her model of support. Amina's journey from despair to advocacy reflects her profound inner strength and resilience. She becomes a symbol of empowerment and transformation, demonstrating that change is possible even in the face of immense adversity. Her efforts inspire others to challenge harmful traditions and seek justice for the marginalized, fostering a culture of support and understanding. Amina standing at the forefront of a movement that reshapes the narrative surrounding child marriage and VVF. Her story and the network she has built symbolize a hopeful future where the voices of survivors are heard, valued, and acted upon. Amina's leadership and the growing support network herald a new era of awareness and progress, embodying the enduring power of hope and change. The sun sets over Duroc as the village gathers for an unprecedented meeting. The open space in the village square is a cauldron of anticipation and anxiety. Tension hangs thick in the air, as if the very atmosphere is charged with the weight of the upcoming debate. Villagers, young and old, fill the area, their faces a mix of curiosity, skepticism, and defiance. Amina, standing alongside Dr. Miriam, prepares to present her case for abandoning the deeply entrenched traditions of child marriage and VVF. Her heart races, but her resolve remains steadfast. The weight of her personal experience and the lives of those she has helped drive her forward. She knows this is more than just a meeting, it's a chance to reshape the future of her village. As the meeting begins, the village chief opens the floor, and the air crackles with murmurs and whispered exchanges. Amina steps forward, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside her. She recounts her journey, from the pain of her forced marriage to her recovery and subsequent advocacy. Her words are both a plea and a challenge, urging the villagers to reflect on their traditions and consider the suffering they cause. Dr. Miriam supports Amina with facts and evidence, highlighting the medical and social benefits of abandoning harmful practices. She speaks of the progress made in other communities and the tangible improvements in health and well-being that could be achieved. Her passion is evident, but it is met with an undercurrent of resistance. The traditionalists, led by Binta, rise to counter the arguments. Binta's voice is sharp, laden with the authority she once wielded. She invokes the village's customs and fears of divine retribution, painting the NGO's efforts as an assault on their cultural heritage. The old guard's rhetoric is fiery, accusing the NGO and its allies of undermining their way of life and disrupting the social order. The debate becomes a heated exchange of ideologies, with accusations flying and emotions flaring. The traditionalists insist that the old ways are sacred and necessary for maintaining societal balance. They argue that change will bring chaos and disrespect for ancestral practices. Conversely, Amina and Dr. Miriam argue that the true chaos lies in the suffering inflicted by these outdated traditions. The meeting stretches into the night, the discussion becoming more impassioned as both sides dig in their heels. Villagers are torn between the familiar security of tradition and the unsettling but enticing promise of reform. Families whisper among themselves, weighing the testimonies and evidence against the comfort of the status quo. As the meeting draws to a close, no resolution is immediately apparent. The village chief calls for a vote on whether to adopt the proposed changes or uphold the traditions. The outcome remains uncertain, and the tension in the air is palpable. In the wake of the critical meeting, Duroc stands at a crossroads. The air is thick with uncertainty as the village embarks on a painful yet hopeful journey of reconciliation. The old order has been challenged, and though change has begun to take root, the path to healing is arduous and fraught with obstacles. Amina, now a symbol of transformation, feels the weight of her role in this pivotal moment. Her personal triumph over adversity has ignited a glimmer of hope in the village, but the task of mending fractured relationships and navigating new social dynamics proves to be a monumental challenge. The scars of the past run deep, and the road to reconciliation is lined with emotional landmines. Amina's family, who once stood on the sidelines, now finds themselves at the heart of the transformation. Her relationship with her parents, strained by years of silence and traditional adherence, is tested as they attempt to rebuild trust. The family must confront their own complicity in perpetuating harmful practices while learning to embrace the values of empathy and progress. Their journey is marked by intense conversations, long overdue apologies, and a slow, painful effort to understand each other's perspectives. In the broader village, the process of reconciliation unfolds with a blend of cautious optimism and stubborn resistance. The old guard, reluctant to let go of deeply held beliefs, clashes with the new generation eager for change. Community meetings become battlegrounds for competing ideologies, as the villagers grapple with the implications of their decisions. There are heated debates and occasional outbursts, but also moments of genuine dialogue and tentative agreements. The village council, now a symbol of the new order, works tirelessly to mediate disputes and foster understanding. Initiatives are launched to educate and involve the community in the change process. Workshops are organized to address the underlying issues of prejudice and superstition, and community events are held to celebrate the new values of inclusivity and respect. Despite these efforts, resistance remains. Some villagers, still clinging to their traditional beliefs, refuse to accept the new reality. Their reluctance to change manifests in subtle acts of defiance, social exclusion, whispered criticisms, and reluctance to support the new initiatives. This ongoing resistance creates a backdrop of tension, making every step toward reconciliation a hard-fought victory. Amina's role evolves from survivor to mediator, as she works to bridge the divide between the old and the new. She shares her story with empathy, using her experience to foster understanding and compassion. Her advocacy extends beyond personal recovery to a broader mission of communal healing. Yet, the emotional toll is significant. The struggle to convince others while confronting her own past is exhausting and often disheartening. In the heart of this tumultuous journey, hope glimmers through the cracks. Small victories emerge, families reconciling, community members opening up to new ideas, and traditionalists beginning to see the benefits of change. These moments are interspersed with setbacks and renewed conflicts, but they signal progress nonetheless. The village of Durok stands at a fragile but hopeful juncture. The path to reconciliation is far from complete, and the future remains uncertain. Yet, the collective effort to heal old wounds and embrace a more inclusive future marks a significant shift. The community's journey is ongoing, and though the road is steep and winding, each step forward signifies a commitment to overcoming the shadows of the past and striving for a brighter, more compassionate future. Just as Durok begins to stitch together the fragments of its fractured past, an unforeseen catastrophe threatens to unravel the fragile progress. A relentless drought descends upon the village, transforming the once fertile land into a barren expanse of cracked earth and wilting crops. The crisis is more than a mere inconvenience, it is a severe test of the community's newfound values and the reforms that have begun to take root. The drought's impact is immediate and severe. Water sources dry up, and the villagers face severe shortages of food and essential supplies. The once hopeful atmosphere now brims with desperation and fear, creating fertile ground for doubt and conflict. The hardship revives old superstitions and resistance, as some villagers begin to question the wisdom of recent changes and wonder if the drought is a sign of divine disapproval for abandoning traditional practices. Dr. Miriam, already battle-worn from her efforts to bring change, finds herself on the front lines once more. She rallies her team to provide aid, distributing what limited resources they have and setting up emergency water distribution points. Her efforts are met with a mixture of gratitude and suspicion. Some villagers embrace her aid, while others are skeptical, clinging to the belief that the drought is a punishment for defying their customs. Amina, too, faces a daunting challenge. Her advocacy for girls' rights and her role as a symbol of change now collide with the urgent demands of the crisis. She steps up as a leader, organizing community meetings to address the immediate needs and to reinforce the values of solidarity and mutual support that she has fought so hard to instill. Her efforts to keep the community united are tested as resources dwindle and tensions rise. The drought exacerbates existing conflicts and deepens divisions. Traditionalists accuse the new reforms of angering the gods, while reformers argue that the drought is a natural disaster exacerbated by the climate crisis. The village council struggles to mediate between these conflicting viewpoints, and Dr. Miriam and Amina must work tirelessly to keep the focus on practical solutions rather than ideological battles. In the midst of this turmoil, Amina's leadership is crucial. She initiates community-led water conservation projects, educates villagers on sustainable practices, and advocates for collective action. Her resilience and commitment inspire many, though not without resistance from those who view her efforts as inadequate or misguided. The final challenge is a test of the village's ability to maintain its commitment to change in the face of adversity. The drought pushes the community to its limits, but it also provides an opportunity for growth. As the villagers come together to address the crisis, they begin to see the value of the reforms they have implemented. The spirit of cooperation and shared sacrifice begins to outweigh the pull of old beliefs. In a dramatic culmination, the village manages to implement effective water management strategies and begins to recover from the drought's impact. The collective effort becomes a testament to the strength and resilience of the community. Though the drought is a stark reminder of the harsh realities they face, it also reinforces the importance of unity and progress. Duroc emerges from the drought's shadow with a renewed sense of unity and purpose. The relentless efforts of Dr. Miriam, Amina, and the villagers have transformed a dire situation into a testament to their resilience. Faced with the devastating impact of the drought, the community came together, using the strategies and lessons they had learned to navigate the crisis. In the midst of scarcity and hardship, the villagers pooled their resources, shared knowledge, and worked tirelessly to implement sustainable practices. Amina, whose leadership had been instrumental in organizing relief efforts and advocating for reforms, now becomes a symbol of hope and progress. Her initiatives, from water conservation projects to education on sustainable farming, begin to bear fruit. The village sees a gradual but noticeable improvement in conditions as they adapt and innovate in response to the drought's challenges. The successful management of the drought marks a pivotal moment for Duroc. It signifies not only their capacity to overcome immediate adversity but also the enduring impact of the changes Amina and the NGO have fought for. The village starts to embrace a new identity, one defined by resilience, compassion, and a commitment to progress. Community meetings reflect a shift in attitude as villagers openly discuss the benefits of the reforms and the strength they have found in unity. The tension between old beliefs and new practices begins to dissolve as the villagers recognize the value of their collective efforts. The village's transformation is not just in its practices but in its spirit, a spirit that now looks toward the future with hope and determination. As dawn breaks over Duroc, the village awakens to the promise of a new day, one that bears the mark of profound transformation. Amina stands at the edge of her home, watching the early light dance across fields and homes that now reflect a renewed spirit of hope and unity. Years of struggle, pain, and resistance have led to this moment, a village reborn from the ashes of its past. The community center, adorned with vibrant murals of unity and progress, stands as a symbol of the resilience that has shaped their journey. Inside, walls echo with laughter and learning, as girls and women gather for education and empowerment, their futures now brimming with possibilities that once seemed unreachable. Amina's heart swells with pride as she surveys the changes. The trials she endured and the battles she fought have borne fruit, not just in Durok but in surrounding villages as well. Her story has become a beacon of hope, lighting the way for others to rise above their circumstances. She has become a powerful advocate, traveling to share her experience and inspire action against child marriage and VVF. Today, Amina is honored at a village celebration dedicated to the new center. The air is filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the sounds of joyous celebration. As she stands before her community, the faces that once looked at her with pity or disdain now beam with admiration and gratitude. From the depths of despair, Amina begins, her voice steady and filled with emotion. We have risen together to build a future where every girl's voice is heard and every dream is valued. Our journey has been arduous, but it has forged a path of hope that extends beyond our borders. The applause that follows is a thunderous acknowledgement of their shared triumph. The villagers, once divided by fear and superstition, now stand united in their commitment to a better future. The center's opening symbolizes a new chapter, one where change is not just a possibility but a reality. As Amina gazes out at the hopeful faces before her, she feels a profound sense of accomplishment and peace. Her journey from victim to advocate has not only reshaped her own life but has also ignited a movement toward lasting change. The echoes of her story will continue to inspire and empower, resonating through generations to come. In this moment of triumph, the village of Durok and its people embody the enduring power of courage, resilience, and the unwavering pursuit of a brighter, more inclusive future.